What's up, Taiwan? I'm Laurel Stewart with the news from here in Taiwan and around the world. Vice Premier Deng Lijun is back in Taiwan after several days of tariff talks in Washington. She says her team is still pushing to cut the US's 20% tariff rate.
谈判还要继续进行，
还要继续进行。
我们会继续努力，争取更好的税率。
The Financial Times reports Taiwan was close to a deal with the US in July, but the White House held off, worried it could affect negotiations with China and a potential summit between US President Donald Trump and his Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping. Taiwan says negotiations aren't over yet and there is still hope for a lower rate. Taiwan's tourism industry is still struggling to bounce back from COVID. Visitor numbers are below pre-pandemic levels and tourist spending is down about 30% compared with 2019. Industry insiders say it's due to fewer Chinese tourists and a switch from group tours to individual travel.
其他的市场的旅客，他们比较不是那么喜欢购物而且就是说，这个整个疫情后的这个转变，变成是 自由行的客人比这个团体旅游的客人来的变多那自由行的客人他们就是喜欢体验。
Analysts say the drop in tourist spending is a global trend, but Taiwan faces extra challenges like a strong currency that makes it pricier for overseas visitors. The crew of a Taiwanese container ship is safe after rough seas rolled around 50 shipping containers overboard. The ship belongs to Evergreen Marine Corps, Taiwan's biggest shipping firm. It was off the coast of Peru when poor weather and high waves overtook it. The company says bad sea conditions may be linked to a recent tsunami that spread across the Pacific. It says it's working with local officials to investigate what happened. Israeli protesters are calling for the return of all hostages being held in Gaza after Hamas released footage of 2 of them looking emaciated and thin.
Watching helplessly as my younger brother, Eviatar David, and his fellow hostage, Guy Gilboa Dalal, slip away. They are on the absolute brink of death. In their current unimaginable condition, they may have only days left to live. Hamas is using Eviatar in one of the most horrific and calculated campaigns of cruelty imaginable.
Food is scarce throughout Gaza, with Israel only allowing limited airdrops of aid. The UN said at the end of July that a third of people there have been going days on end without food, and reports accuse Israel of killing people seeking aid. In an era of deepfakes, disinformation and AI-generated content, how can social media be used as a positive force for democracy? Our reporter Alec MacDonald sat down with Taiwan's Cyber Ambassador at Large, Audrey Tang, to discuss concrete tools to promote transparency and online resilience.
You've recently joined the Mozilla Foundation as a senior advisor. For those unfamiliar, can you introduce the Mozilla Foundation and what your role there will be?
Mozilla has been around for more than 2 decades now. For many, it's the steward of the Firefox browser. For people working in AI, it hosts Common Voice, which is a data set that includes more than 200 languages. So anyone speaking any language can contribute their voice to help the AI systems of the frontier models anywhere in the world to benefit from the ideas, the cultures, the local languages, and so on, without being constrained by just a few major languages. It includes not just the Taiwanese Mandarin or Taiwanese Hokkien, Daigi, but also the Taiwanese indigenous languages as well. And so through this kind of participatory input, Mozilla wants to prove that the internet becomes safer as it becomes more open. So just as in Taiwan, when we say we're making the state transparent to the people, not the people transparent to the state, Mozilla fights digital surveillance and so on, and builds tools that make the internet more robust through participation. For example, Roost is one of the projects that I help advise. What it tries to do is that it makes it very easy for anybody hosting any content site on internet to scan for child sexual abuse materials, non-consensual intimate images, and other harmful content in a way that preserves privacy and does not rely on any central provider, so that people can contribute into safety, again, like Common Voice, by donating the threat intelligences that they have scanned in their local places without compromising privacy.
So in the face of tragedy, sometimes people have a heightened state of emotions, and this can lead to hostile conversations on social media. So how does your platform propose to address some of these conversations that go beyond civility, that become hostile?
Yeah, the idea is that in the antisocial corners of social media, it's engagement through enragement, because many of their algorithms prioritize content that builds addiction to the touchscreens. And it's just that people who held a megaphone from the more extreme positions tend to have more engagement with addiction. But in pro-social media, it's the other way around. As I mentioned, community nodes as well as polls function the same way. We only give the bridging bonus, the virality, to the uncommon ground. So if you belong to one extreme, your voice do not reach out that much. The algorithm, instead of prioritizing people on the extremes, holding megaphones on those hostile takes, as you were alluding to, pro-social media figures out what are the bridging ideas and give virality to those ideas.
You recently joined the AI Advisory Group on Elections, or AI Age. So I want to ask you, what are some of the greatest risks to elections from AI that you see in the field right now?
So what we have seen around the world is that the people who want to meddle and interfere with elections have moved on from disinformation, which is intentionally fake content, into malicious AI swarms, which is fake people. So the difference is that those fake people don't need to post any fake content. They just post like real news, share their feelings, resonate with each other's feelings, but it's all fake. So when you click into one of those fake people, you can see something that looks like organic engagement. What it's trying to do is a vibe attack. It reassociates certain ideas, certain political figures with a positive valence so that people like them more, and the other kind of political ideas and figures with a negative valence so people see them as not newsworthy or trollish or things like that. And so through AI AGE, we put people who are in charge of elections worldwide, the policymakers and the AI experts, so that they can learn from each other's best practices and implement, for example, meronymity and provenance, that is to say, to show the attribution of the different actors on social media and many other measures, so that we do not go to a surveillance state where the social media is monitored and real name is required for all posts in the name of protecting electoral integrity. But we also don't go into the malicious AI swarm chaos where you can see 50,000 real people that are actually deepfakes.
That was Taiwan's Cyber Ambassador Audrey Tang. You can watch the full interview with her on Zoom In Zoom Out, available at TaiwanPlus.com and YouTube. Taiwan is putting its culture in the spotlight at a new exhibition in Osaka. Taiwan's Spectrum runs alongside Japan's Expo 2025, and it's all about showing the world what Taiwan can do. Our reporter Sandy Chi gives us a glimpse of its opening night.
This is Taiwan Spectrum, an exhibition in Osaka bringing visitors on a sensory journey through Taiwan's geography, history, culture, and contemporary art. The exhibition is part of We Taiwan, a cultural event being held alongside Expo 2025 in Osaka.
希望来让日本的社会看见，虽然我们在过去的历史上有一段重叠，但是你可以看到今天台湾已经完整的长出了自己的面貌。我们的多元，我们结合不同的文化的能力，跟开放包容的态度，才是今天的台湾。
It's the first time Taiwan's holding such an event in Japan, a major step in highlighting the country's soft power on the world stage. It follows the success at last year's Cultural Olympiad in Paris, where Taiwan made a strong impression. And in Japan, this very exhibition seeks to reveal the vibrant colors of Taiwan.
台湾光谱是这次为台湾一个很重要的以视觉艺术出发的一个展览。那台湾光谱是我们透过台湾人的手、眼睛、脚步去看到的台湾色彩，所以你会看到这种视觉艺术创造出来的绘画色彩、手染的色彩跟声音听到的色彩。那我们希望其实可以把台湾的多彩混融这样的特性呈现在这个展览当中。
The exhibition has three main themes: true color of Taiwan, light-woven nature, and island soundscape, telling the story of Taiwan's history, the interaction between nature and humans, and the sounds of everyday life in Taiwan. Almost 1,000 visitors attended the exhibition on opening day alone. Taiwan Spectrum will run through August 20th, giving visitors a few weeks to experience the true colors of Taiwan. Devontai, P. Strong and Sanichi in Osaka for TaiwanPlus.
You can stay tuned for more of our coverage from Osaka all this week. Taiwan has lost the bronze medal match to South Korea at this year's Under-12 Baseball World Cup. Sunday's game in the southern city of Tainan finished 0-2. In the gold medal match, also held in Tainan, the US trounced Japan 7-1. An agricultural co-op is working to spread the word about Pingdong County's quality chocolate while cutting down the carbon dioxide growers emit. John Ventriest has this story from Taiwan's cocoa capital.
Huang Zhaoying inspects the cocoa pods growing in her orchard in Pingdong County in southern Taiwan. It's early in the season and there's still damage from last year's typhoons, but Huang isn't worried. Thanks to the local farmers co-op she's joined, the pods are bigger and healthier than ever, and there's no need to worry about marketing.
土质是酸性还是怎样哈？看要用什么肥，它会有跟你验土，就感觉果实有比较大。
Chocolate is something of a specialty in this part of Taiwan, and that's in part thanks to the co-op's chair, Qiu Junyu. Qiu has been in cocoa for a decade, and he's seen the crop's ups and especially its downs. A few years ago, farmers were cutting down their cacao trees as they failed to find buyers. Now his co-op helps give Pingdong's chocolate a bigger profile and find a bigger market. Around a quarter of Pingdong's 62 hectares of cocoa fields now has an annual contract with the co-op. Cocoa is a complicated business, but here each step is carefully organized. Once a week, cocoa pods come in from the farms. The co-op does quality control and then begins a precise process of fermentation that can take up to 2 weeks. Beans must be carefully turned so they get the right amount of sun exposure and meet the criteria for sale.
晒透的，如果我哋爱囤伊的水分含量降到7.8以下，也让它符合国际的一个标准安尼。所以经过我哋一个步骤，尽量容易跟太阳接触，我们酿一些比较小的次级品的，我哋会推脱起来安尼。
But quality isn't this co-op's only concern. To give its products an edge, it's going green. Standard chocolate production emits 17 to 19 kilograms of CO2 per kilogram of product. The co-op has this down to 7 kilograms and wants to push things even further. Last July, it got Taiwan's first carbon label for Pingdong cocoa. That certification didn't come easy, as one local official with a passion for the cocoa business attests.
所有嘅嘢 data 資料全部係新嘅，佢就對我哋咧甜度嘅佢是盤到我哋咧佢啲出來，講到成排啦，到100排，冇相同嘅嘅，我用嘅天水，特別用嘅天嘅種類，夾去盤查，包括我哋奶肉地杯所下皮料，全部夾去盤出來。 到後面要野成命過程要5噸，送出去用埋嘅菜，就強下送出去，用埋嘅資料做包裝。
But with climate change concern a growing factor in what people buy, these farmers and their co-op think they've hit on a plan to boost local agriculture and put chocolate from Taiwan's southern tip on a bigger stage. Joseph Wu and John Van Trieste for TaiwanPlus.
Thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. Finally, check out this historic Dutch vessel sailing into Rotterdam after a 2-year mission to call attention to climate change. I'm Laurel Stewart. Take care and see you next time.